All right, let's dive into a fascinating puzzle from India's economy. It's a real statistical head scratcher, but one with huge real world consequences for literally hundreds of millions of people.
So, everything kicks off with this number. A whopping 91% of India's entire workforce is informal. Now, think about what that means. The vast majority of workers, plumbers, carpenters, weavers, you name it, they have incredible skills, but they don't have a formal piece of paper to prove it. They learned their trade on the job, not in some fancy classroom. And then, bam, official data drops. And it shows something that looks, well, miraculous. In just a handful of years, the share of the workforce with no formal training just plummeted. It went from almost 93% all the way down to 65%. On paper, that looks like a full-blown skills revolution. So that's the big question, isn't it? Did tens of millions of people just suddenly get skilled up in a few short years? Or is there something else going on with these numbers? Is this all just a statistical illusion? Let's get into it.
It turns out the main suspect behind this dramatic change is a government policy. And at its heart, it's actually built on a really powerful and noble idea.
It's called Recognition of Prior Learning, or RPL for short. And the goal is simple, but it's also pretty profound. It's about formally recognizing and certifying the skills that people already have, skills they learned through years of hard work, not by sitting in a class.
And this is so crucial in a place like India, where skills have been passed down for generations through the traditional master-apprentice system, the Ustad-Shagird tradition. RPL is supposed to give these masters of their craft the official validation, the piece of paper that says, yes, your expertise is real and it matters. And the ambition here was just staggering. Between 2015 and 2022, the government aimed to assess 300 million workers through this RPL program. I mean, that's an enormous chunk of the entire workforce, just massive. And here's how it's all supposed to work. It looks pretty logical, right? A clear 5-step process. You do a self-assessment, you talk to an expert, you pull together proof of your work, you get officially assessed, and then you get your feedback. And hopefully, that's certification. Seems like a solid plan. So the idea is great. The process looks good on paper. But what does the evidence tell us about what actually happened when this thing hit the ground?
Well, the policy was put into action under a big government scheme, and it changed quite a bit over time. It started out very centralized, managed from the top down, but over time it became much more decentralized, with decisions being made at the local district level.
And this is really where we start to see a major disconnect. The whole investigation reveals this growing gap, a gap between the original goal, which was all about recognizing deep, real-world skills, and the on-the-ground reality, which kind of became a race for quick and easy certifications. And these numbers right here, wow, they tell the story perfectly. Just look at this. Long-term vocational training, the serious stuff, lasting over 2 years, it got cut in half in just 6 years. And at the same time, the short-term courses, the ones lasting less than 6 months, they doubled. So that's the heart of the issue, right there. The system started rewarding speed over substance. RPL began being used as a shortcut to just pump up the number of certified people. With some of these assessments lasting as little as 10 days, that's not about enhancing skills, it's just about printing certificates. And when you're just chasing numbers, a whole bunch of other problems pop up. You started seeing things like biased assessments, private companies jumping in just to make a quick buck without providing any real quality, and almost no follow-up to see if these certificates actually helped anyone get a better job. Okay, so this sounds pretty bad, but hold on. This does not mean the idea of RPL itself is broken. Not at all. In fact, if we look around the world, we can see other countries are showing us how to do this right, offering a kind of blueprint for a better way. When you look at successful systems globally, you start to see a pattern. In South Africa, they tie RPL directly to real apprenticeships. In places like Australia and the UK, they make sure employers and trade unions are deeply involved, so the certifications actually mean something in the real world. And countries like Finland and the Netherlands are using tech to make the whole thing more credible and efficient. The secret sauce, the common thread through all of these successful programs, is a relentless focus on quality. It's about making sure that the certificate actually stands for a high standard of skill. Because that's how you build trust in the system, trust from both workers and employers. All of which brings us right back to where we started, to India's great skills mystery, and more importantly, how to fix it. So, the mystery is solved. That huge drop in the no training numbers wasn't a skills revolution. It was fueled by a flood of quick, often low-quality certifications that prioritized hitting a target number over building real capability. A brilliant idea, but one that was undermined by poor execution.
So how do we fix it? Well, the roadmap for reform starts with technology. Let's bring this system into the 21st century. Use digital portfolios so people can showcase their work. Use AI to help with assessments. Maybe even use blockchain to create secure credentials that can't be faked. That's how you restore trust.
Next up, RPL can't be an island. It has to be a bridge to something better. That means deeply connecting it to real-world training, especially apprenticeships. Use RPL to give an apprentice credit for what they already know, so they can focus on learning new things. Make it a pathway to a better job, not just a dead-end certificate. And finally, this is the big one. This is absolutely critical. Quality has to be king. That means standardized assessments, properly trained assessors, and getting the very industries that need these skilled workers, the employers, the trade unions, deeply involved in designing and watching over the whole process. Which leaves us with this final massive question. Fixing this system isn't just about tweaking a policy. It's about making a fundamental choice. Do we value real, proven capability, or do we just value statistics that look good on a chart? The answer will determine the future for that 91% and the true potential of India's economy.